Hello and welcome to the third video in our Innate Health series. And today I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about just why we get so stuck. Because especially what I talked about in the first video, the self-correcting nature of the mind, I hear all the time like, yeah, I know that we self-correct eventually, but why does it take me days? Like, why is it not kind of as instant as you make it sound or I see other people experience? And this just comes down to how much we overthink and why we think overthinking is a good idea. Because a lot of the times people can see that, yeah, obviously my anxiety is a bunch of overthinking. Obviously my low mood is a bunch of, overthinking and indulging and all of that kind of fearful low mood, just energy. But we often don't know why we're doing it. So I kind of have a little drawing to assist me today. And this is us, and we are peaceful and wise and calm and clear and just content because that's our natural state. And when we get kind of away from that, we experience our thinking that covers that up, because the only thing that can cover up that natural state in us is our thinking. So what happens, I'm just going to use an example of social anxiety, and I know that some people will be like, well, that's never been an issue for me, but what I'm going to talk about applies to whatever issue you are having or have struggled with or want to see something different about. So bear with me on the details and try to just kind of stick with what we're looking at on the drawing. So these thoughts are, I don't want to go to that event, I'm not going to know anyone, it's going to be super awkward. And then we add a whole bunch of, what's wrong with me that I don't want to go? And my friends are going to feel like I've let them down, and this always happens to me, and I don't know what I've done to cause it. And maybe I should look into my childhood and go back into my past and think about all of those moments that what could have triggered this, and oh, I can't believe I'm feeling like this, and this always happens. And so before we know it, that one kind of thought of I'm anxious to go to this party or I'm anxious to attend this event has turned into something about us, something that we need resolution about, something that's a problem, and we just think and think and think. And we can't think our way out of a thought-created problem. You can't. The logic doesn't hold. And it reminds me of that quote by Albert Einstein that I love so much about no problem can be solved at the level of consciousness that created it. And so when we have this initial kind of thought, initial kind of something that's covering up the fact that we're just fine if we're not indulging our thinking, we then go on and on and on about what it means about us, how bad this always happens, this is because of our diagnosis, it's because of our label, this is the type of person we are, and before you know it, we're in this complete thought storm. And we're not feeling the fact that we're fine, because we're so feeling this. And this happens to every single person. Everyone. This is like, this in some area of our life, in some instance, in some regard, has happened and will happen to all of us for the rest of our lives. But the reason, and I'm so adamant on people gaining an understanding of how the mind works, is because we start to see, like, hold on a second. All of this kind of extra thought, everything over this kind of here and more, is optional. And what I mean by that is it's totally extraneous and unnecessary and born of misunderstanding. And we have been socially and culturally conditioned to take our thinking very seriously and find out what it means and kind of dig around for meaning, dig around for importance, dig around for content, talk about it, in talk therapy people are always like, oh, I have to tell you what I thought and why did I think this, and am I the type of person who has these thoughts? And it's like, no, you don't have to do any of that, because all that's doing, all this cloud of thought storm is doing, is covering up your innate well-being even more. It's not doing anything to the innate well-being because that's a constant, but it's covering it up more, and it's kind of getting you more stuck. And when we see, like, okay, well, what if I can just have the thought, I'll be anxious at that party, and do nothing with it? What if I understand that that's just a fluctuation of energy? What if I start to see that I'm going to have a whole range of experience, all of it, and I'm okay to have thinking that I don't particularly like, but I don't have to go and create a storm about it. I don't have to make it about me. I don't have to make it about my past. I don't have to make it about I'm the type of person who. I don't have to make it, I don't have to beat myself up for feeling it. I don't have to have a bunch of resistance and avoidance about it. It's just, okay, I had thought that I'll be anxious at the party. That's the nature of thought. We get it, and it gives us an experience, and then it goes. Because if all it was, if we think of these as clouds, going back to our video one about kind of thought storms and how they are the same as real storms, if this is kind of a cloud that we've had, how long does it take for one cloud to dissipate? Not long. How long does it take 25 clouds to dissipate? A little bit longer. And all of this is still self-correcting because all of this is made up of thought, and all of this works like clouds, and all of this will take care of itself. But what I see over and over when I'm talking to clients about this idea about I'm always going to be stuck. Like, I don't know what you mean about I feel better in a few minutes or a few hours. Like, I'm days or weeks in these feeling states. And it's because they don't realize that they're creating all of this excess meaning and importance and seriousness and overthinking. And they don't see that that's making the problem worse instead of better. It looks like, well, to deal with this anxious thought about the party, I have to sort it, and I have to analyze it, and I have to think about it, and I have to be on it, and I have to discuss it with people, and I have to do all of these things. But it's like, no, what if you just let it be a cloud in the sky, and it will leave? And you'll start to see that not feeding into and buying into and thinking into all of the thoughts that we don't like, that they just get to be clouds. They'll just be a cloud. That's a really ugly cloud, I'm sorry, but they'll just be a cloud, and they'll float by, and they'll float by a lot quicker than these 25 clouds float by. And the system will just start to self-correct quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker because there's less clouds covering the fact that you're the blue sky and you are completely fine. And so hopefully, I know the drawing is it's not my forte, so bear with me, but I hope that kind of I don't know, kind of opened your eyes a bit to kind of why we innocently get in our own way and how we kind of don't always see the self-correcting tendency of the mind as quickly, because it is always there, and it is always working, and it is always flowing, and it is just clouds that are covering the sky in any case. But when we don't know that, we don't see that, it's so easy to get into analysis and thinking and meaning making and making it about us and taking it seriously and putting a bunch of importance on it, and all of that is just making it worse. And when you start to see that, oh, I'm just filling the sky with clouds instead of just letting that one little cloud flow by and let the blue sky, the natural background of the blue sky become apparent, then everything just becomes a lot easier and a lot more simple, and you start to notice more and more, wow, my mind is self-correcting. I am just moving through feeling states, I'm moving through thoughts, I'm moving through experience, and you start to kind of really feel in the flow of life more. And then everything just becomes so much easier, and everything just feels like it's taken care of for us. And that's where transformation really happens. So I hope this was helpful, and we have, I think, 5 more videos in this series. So have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Bye.